Please welcome Emmy Award-winning journalist John Quinones.
All right.
John Quinones. I'm a correspondent with ABC News and host of the TV show What Would You Do?
I see. Now, what are you here for this evening at CSU-Pueblo?
I'm here to speak to the students. I was invited to come speak. This is Hispanic Heritage Month coming up, and tomorrow is a big Mexican celebration for independence. And I just wanted to come and share my thoughts with the kids, trying to inspire them about where they're headed and what lies ahead, and never to give up. I grew up in a tough neighborhood, and a lot of these kids came from the same kind of place. I just want them to know that whatever your dreams are, you can realize them.
I see. So some form of inspiration for them, perhaps.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned your history with Upward Bound class. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was an Upward Bound student. When I was in high school, they picked 10 students from my high school, this government program that basically was like a foot in the door to college. It helped you prepare for college by getting courses in teaching you math, biology, English, courses that we might be doing poorly with in high school. They would supplement education in those courses so that someday you could be admitted to college, and I was. And if it wasn't for Upward Bound, I wouldn't be here today.
How did you get your start with ABC News? How did you get your start in the journalism field?
It was a long climb, slowly, step by step. I always wanted to be a journalist. I used to write for the high school newspaper. But the chances of going to college and making it to this level were very slim. But, I had a pair of parents who said to me, never give up, shoot for the stars. And I started working in radio broadcasting. I worked in radio as a news announcer in San Antonio and then Houston. And then nobody would hire me in TV, so I went to graduate school. I got a master's in journalism from Columbia University in New York. And from there, I was hired as a local TV reporter in Chicago. And I, basically did everything I could to do great stories. And one of those stories won an Emmy Award and brought me to the attention of ABC News. They were looking for somebody who spoke Spanish to go to Central America, and I was hired by ABC.
It sounds like a very prolific career, I would say. What's your secret to your success then, or do you have one? Could you consider it luck, or does that have anything to do with it in this case?
No, I just took advantage of every opportunity I had to push myself forward. When people told me no, I just shut my ears off to that. I never took no for an answer. Whenever I had an opportunity to meet someone in the business, I bothered them. I bugged them to give them my resume, to let me do an internship, to let me do an audition, and it paid off. But it's basically perseverance, never taking no for an answer.
Let's switch gears for a second. Let's delve into your series, What Would You Do? Can you give me a quick underline of the show and its content?
We decided that we wanted to see what people would do when faced with ethical dilemmas. And what better way to do this than to put hidden cameras and microphones in a public setting and then stage an event that happens all the time in private when no cameras are rolling, and see how people reacted. It was a very simple premise. These things that we showcase happen in real life. Spouses get abused by their husbands, women do. Men sometimes by their wives. But it always happens behind closed doors. If we show it in a public setting like a park, a man threatening a woman, will anybody, and you witness this, would you stop and say something? Would you call 911? If you see a girl whose drink was spiked at the bar by a guy, would you confront the guy, or would you tell her that this happened, not to take that drink? If you see a baby locked in a car on a hot day in the summer, would you sound the alarm or take a brick and throw it to the window and do something to save a life? We wanted to delve into those social settings, and it's kind of an experiment, a human laboratory, and it's paid off. People love watching it.
Now, what responses have you gotten from that? Have you noticed a certain level of kindness among Americans, or is it? How does this affect other people?
Oh, a lot of times people don't do anything for a while. People walk by. People don't want to get involved. People are afraid that it might, and it's sometimes We're not saying by doing this show that you should always jump in and get involved personally, because sometimes it's dangerous and there's a risk. But what we found is that even though people do walk on by and don't do anything, always a hero comes along and does something really inspiring. They don't have to get involved and confront the guy who's doing the bad thing, but they can call 911, or they can yell, or they can tell other people, or they can encourage others to challenge the person who's doing something wrong or evil. And so it's very inspiring. In the end, it's renewed my faith in mankind and womankind, because there's always the heroes, everyday heroes, who step up when we think no one's going to, and do the right thing.
Do you think that people will watch the show and be inspired by that? Is that your goal?
I think it does happen. You know, whether it was our goal or not, people are learning from it, and families are watching it with their kids, the show, and are learning from it. And I think if it makes you stop and think about what you might do, if you put yourself in those shoes next time you see something wrong, something amiss, something that doesn't seem right, and if you do something, we found that colleges are teaching with our videotapes. High schools are teaching these in their psych classes. Families are telling their kids. And we've run into people who have done something to get involved, and they've told us afterward that they did so because they had watched the show and they learned something from What Would You Do? So it happens.
I heard the words role model being rolled around in the audience earlier this evening. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I think it's kind of wild that anyone would think I'm a role model. I think if we can inspire kids and teach them, then if that's being a role model, then that's fine with me. I want to inspire children to do the best of their abilities, to reach, to have dreams, and to shoot for the stars, and not ever give up, despite what society tells you. Being Mexican American, many times society told me, you know, you're not going to make it. You're not college material. You're not. You should be an auto mechanic. You should be a woodsman. You should be a craftsman. Work with your hands. And they didn't know what I was thinking. They didn't know what my brain was capable of. So you got to shut yourself off to those naysayers who don't dream as big as we do, and turn the light on your dreams, and just shoot for the stars.
Okay, good advice.
All right.
Good advice, John. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, AJ.